Hey everybody, I just want to come at you here from Helsinki. I'm up here for the next 5 days teaching entrepreneur seminars, but I wanted to share how to buy a Bitcoin. That's become the #1 search on Google, beating out that of how to buy gold. So I'm going to come back and share that with you, and we're going to go through a PowerPoint on just exactly how to do that and give you some insights on the risk and the reward, so hopefully you can make the right decisions. So we'll be back right after this. Okay, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about how to buy a Bitcoin. Now, first of all, if you're brand new and you have not bought a Bitcoin, or you've not even heard about Bitcoin, I want to share with you kind of how it came about. The Bitcoin was actually a creation that happened around 2007, 2008 timeframe when the credit crisis hit, and we all learned that the banks were basically a cartel of criminals who basically, wiped out a lot of our credit and transferred the wealth into their own pockets. No bankers went to jail, but a lot of people lost their credit, their money, their assets. So a new idea for currency came out through a white paper that was written by Satoshi Nakamoto. And nobody knows who this is. It might be a person, it might be a female, a male, it might even be a group of people. But that came out. And the tech geeks started getting involved with the process. Anyway, long story short, around 2013, it got a little bit more traction. 2015, it had some great volatility, moving from very, very low price per coin to $1,000 before it crashed on the issues with Mt. Gox, which was one of the largest exchanges. And Mt. Gox was hacked and lost a tremendous amount of money. And that caused the lack of trust to fall. So Bitcoin then went from the 1,000 mark down to just a couple $100s. So it's taken years for it to recover, and 2017 has been the year of Bitcoin, moving up over 800% this year alone. So let's get into it. I'm not going to get really in depth here, but I want to make sure I share what you need to know about Bitcoin from my perspective. And I've been involved with Bitcoin since 2013, on and off. It's not like I'm an expert, but I want to share with you what I've been doing. So hopefully this will help you. Bitcoin is a digital currency, and it's not backed by any country's central bank or government. And this is really powerful because it's called decentralization of power. So when we have the decentralization, no one group of people can come in and tell us how to run the currency. So they can try to shut it down, but it pops up somewhere else. It's been likened to the little game that kids play called Whack-A-Mole, where you try to hit it and it disappears and goes somewhere else. That is the power of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. So Bitcoin to me is a hedge. When I bought it specifically to hedge against the global economy because we have tremendous risk in the economy. Consumer debt levels are at all-time highs. Corporate debt levels are at highs. Our government, the U.S., is $20 trillion in debt. So basically we have a bankrupt government, bankrupt banks, and it's a big Ponzi scheme. So to me, Bitcoin allows you to move money very quickly and to put it in a different place to hedge against the financial risks with the fiat money system. I liken it to gold or silver or other assets. It's a digital asset where you can store value. So a lot of people are looking at Bitcoin as a place where you can store value and move it very quickly. It's a lot easier to move than gold or silver. So keep it in mind that way. I don't call it really a currency right now. I think it is a digital asset. It may become a currency, but time will tell. So the argument is that from the banks, people like JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon, who came out against Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and said it's a fraud, against a lot of bankers, a lot of insiders that feel the threat to their career, to their industry, are coming out against it. However, there are a lot of great minds coming out for it. Billionaires like Tim Draper and Mike Novogratz, Bill Gates and Richard Branson. So I'm just putting my faith in the fact that as the economy changes, we're going to change currencies. And the Millennials are on this big time, and therefore you got to follow what the younger generation is doing. They believe in cryptocurrency. They're kind of wired from the time they were born. They were born with a mobile phone in their hands. So I think this is going to continue to push into new levels of the cryptocurrency markets, and it will be very disruptive. The Bitcoin is important even though banks don't like it. They see it as a threat, again, to their centralized power, which again puts the power back in the hands where it belongs, the people. And if we have power through all our computer systems, we don't need approval to move money. We don't need people taking fees out. We don't need the slow process. We can do it ourselves with the power of technology. So Bitcoin allows the decentralized power and peer-to-peer movement of money, which is quicker and less expensive. Give you an example. I was looking to pay my assistant the other day. The process I'm using now is I go through my bank and they send out a check. In today's digital age, they actually still send out a check without a fee. But the process is it takes sometimes 3, 4, 5 days. Well, in this case, it took like 8 or 9 days and the check still had not arrived. I called the bank and their answer was, well, you can wait 10 days, we can cancel it and resend another check. So it's impossible. It's costing money, it's costing time. If we had Bitcoin available to do this transaction quickly, we could have had that money transferred over in a matter of seconds with virtually no cost. And that is why this is going to be such a powerful technology to change and disrupt many, many institutions, including the banks, because they definitely know that their days are numbered. And that's an example of mismanagement of our funds. So Bitcoin holds its value in what is known as the blockchain. And not being a tech geek, the way I look at it is every car that I look outside here in Helsinki, it has a different body. It has a different look. That's kind of like the cryptocurrencies. There's different coins. There's different feels to it. But when you pull off that body and you look under the hood, it's the same engine that's running these vehicles. Pretty much the same. There might be some tweaks. Some might have turbo. Some might be diesel, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's the engine that runs the entire ecosystem of cryptocurrencies. So that is called the blockchain. And it's a series of ledgers and nodes that basically can take unhonest situations and make them very much more honest because it's all done through technology. It makes it kind of hacker-proof, and once it's in the ledger, it cannot be changed or tampered. So there's more to learn about this, and there's a lot of books on it, but I just want you to know it's very, very powerful because what it will do is it will strip away the extra cost and the time it takes to create processes and get things done, whether it's transferring money or whether it's smart contracts with Ethereum, etc. So the blockchain is the disruptive power behind the cryptocurrencies. The key is decentralization. Again, lower fees and faster movement of information, money, property, everything. The 2008 credit crisis caused many to wake up and to see the corruption in banking. Now, because I've been teaching for over 25 years financial literacy, I studied very heavily the banking system. And what I found to be true is the banking system was set up by insiders, a cartel, to control and manipulate the money supply, to basically create a tax on us, the people, and to line their own pockets. So the banking system, to me, is the most vile system on the planet. Any history study on this, it'll be very clear that that is the case. One book you can read is called The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin, and it will open your eyes to what really happened in 1913 with the Federal Reserve and then the creation of the Federal Reserve Act, which has basically caused major problems in our money supply and inflation. So today there are over 1,000 cryptocurrencies, more and more being added every day. Word of caution here, a lot of these cryptocurrencies are a scam and Ponzi schemes. There are no regulations regarding creating a cryptocurrency. It's called an ICO, initial coin offering. Very much similar to an IPO on the stock market, initial public offering, but there's a lot of regulation on those to make sure you're getting, a much less risky situation. With ICOs, any cowboy can do it. Therefore, regulation will be a good thing when it comes, but right now it is not regulated. Therefore, you must do your homework. You must know what coins you're investing in. Now, I just changed this because Bitcoin, when I put this slide together, had a basically market cap of about, I think it was 110 billion. As of today, and today is November 28th, it's actually $169 billion market cap of just Bitcoin. The entire cryptocurrency market is 300 billion as of today. Huge compared to where it was just a couple days ago or a couple months ago. But it's not nearly as big as the stock market. It is still very, very small in comparison. So the top coins by market capitalization, again, this will change every day. So just have a look. But these are the coins I would start looking at. Bitcoin number 1 and Ethereum number 2. These are the two main coins that I think big money is looking at. After that, you have Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, which is being used by the banking system. In fact, American Express and Santander just signed a deal with Ripple, and their currency is called XRP, and it's trading, I think, about 26 cents per coin today. Then you have Litecoin, which is a little faster than Bitcoin and more, I guess, apt to be a currency than Bitcoin is. You have Dash, Neo, and Monero, which is an anonymity coin. Monero is very, very private. So each of these coins has a story, and you must understand the story. Now, to find out the market cap and how it changes daily, go to www.coinmarketcap.com, and you can keep an update of the top coins. Now, unlike the US dollar, Bitcoin has a true and fixed supply. When it was created, it was meant to only create 21 million coins. Now, these coins are mined, which means you use computing power to mine these coins, solving mathematical equations and problems. And they get harder as each coin is mined. There's only so many coins left, and therefore it's getting harder and harder to mine these coins. It's been said that it cost over $1,000 of energy and computing power to create one Bitcoin. And because of the limited supply and the huge demand, as news continues about the increasing price of Bitcoin, more and more people come into the market because they hear about their neighbor or they hear about somebody investing. You know, maybe they invested $60, now it's worth $10,000. So it's called FOMO, the fear of missing out. So a lot of people will be coming in due to the fear of missing out. I will tell you, as I travel around the world and I teach my seminars, I ask people, who has ever heard of cryptocurrencies? Only about 30% of the audience raises their hand. So we're still very, very young in this market. And even though it's in the news a lot of people just do not know about it. Once they do, once the masses know and start to get involved, then I think this bubble is going to pop big time. Now, Bitcoin trades today. By the way, today Bitcoin just hit $10,000 per coin. Just a couple days ago, I was buying Bitcoin at $8,000 a coin. So it's gone up over $2,000 in a matter of days. Potentially, this coin could hit $25,000, if not $40,000 by the end of 2018, and it could go higher than that. Now, obviously, as it goes up parabolically, it will come down big as well. So you've got to understand that this is a very volatile market. If you buy at the wrong time and it goes down, you could lose a lot of money. So you've got to have a stomach if you're buying Bitcoin and plan on holding it. If I were you and I was buying it, I would buy it and hold it for 3 to 5 years. That's the way I would do it. There are people that are trading it. For example, millennials are putting a lot of their net worth in the crypto space. In fact, there's an article out the other day that mentioned that the millennials have most of their net worth in cryptocurrencies versus the stock market. So what is the risk? Well, there are many risks in the crypto markets and in Bitcoin itself. So let me hit those very quickly because it's very important to understand these risks. One of the big risks we got to look at is the risk of hackers. Well, let's talk about volatility risk first. The risk of volatility. Because there is a limited supply and because there's a big demand and because there's no shorting of the Bitcoin, we see big moves. And so we'll see big moves up and we'll see big moves down. What's going to cause the moves is the news and different types of events that are macro-based economics. So there's no fundamentals really behind the cryptocurrency market. It's more about the big news. The value is in the fact that we can control our own power and have less fees and faster execution, and the potential of what the blockchain has in store for industry. So that is the real value, and money is just an idea. Remember, it's just a concept. The US dollar has no value. It's a fiat currency. It's fake. It's an illusion. So the Bitcoin is no different. None of these cryptocurrencies are any different. But once the masses decide that it is valuable, then that value will be held based on that trust and based on that confidence. So volatility will be in play, which means it'll move very, very big. It could be moving $500 a day. I've seen that happen with Bitcoin. And therefore, you got to be able to stomach that. That is the volatility risk. Again, if you're trading it, that could be a nightmare. If you're buying and holding it for 3 to 5 years, I would just put it away and come back to it later. Make sure it's money you can afford to lose. Now, this is a big one, the hacking risk. Nobody has ever hacked into Bitcoin because it is pretty much hacker-proof. What is not hacker-proof is the software that is being laid upon the blockchain. That means your wallets, your exchanges, any type of software that is using the blockchain that's put upon that, kind of like the car I talked about. It's like the body put on the engine. The body could be hacked. So wallets, you never want to keep your wallet in your phone. If you lose your phone, it can be easy to steal your wallet. By the way, hackers can get software that checks your keystrokes. So when you're getting your coins, do not leave them on exchanges. If you're doing that, the odds are you're going to have them stolen. At some point, it's probably going to happen. The best thing to do is to get your coins off the network, off the exchange, onto either a paper wallet like I did when I bought Bitcoin, or another type of wallet, which is a hardware wallet. And I'll talk about those in a few minutes. But just understand, if you're keeping money on the exchanges, somebody's going to have access to your information eventually, and they'll crack the code. They're very good at doing this. One of the gentlemen I listen to is John McAfee. John McAfee is a very big proponent of the crypto space and Bitcoin, so I highly recommend you YouTube him. And he talks about the security risks with the cryptocurrencies and how many thousands of dollars he has lost just by moving money around from Ethereum to Bitcoin to Monero to any of these. The movement today is still very complicated for the average person. So my suggestion to you is to buy the Bitcoin and then to take it off the market, and don't get involved in moving it all around, because the odds are you'll probably lose it or a portion of it. So highly recommended that you just buy the coin, pull it off, and keep it somewhere safe for a while, and just let the markets do what they do. So I'd say know your coin, whatever coin you're going to invest in. Let's talk Bitcoin. That's the coin you want to focus on. That's the one that everybody knows. Know your exchange. Where are you going to buy it? And I'm going to give you a couple choices here. There's many out there, actually, depending on where you live in the world. The U.S. is more restricted, however. The U.S. has our regulatory laws called FACTA, and basically the U.S. does not like the U.S. citizens being free to make money. It's almost like a capital control. So we do not have as many choices as they do in Seoul, Korea, or Japan, where, by the way, Japan has accepted cryptocurrencies and is really standing behind it as a government. This is showing the wide adoption of cryptocurrencies. We're early to market, and that's a great thing. Now, you want to know your exchange. Make sure it's a good exchange. Also, know you're safe. How are you going to keep the coin? And do you know exactly how to remove the coin from the network and put it back on the network? And then know your exits. When are you going to get out of this thing? Are you buying it to hold it, or are you buying it to just make a quick profit? You got to know when you're going to get out on the downside or the upside. And the way I looked at it is I was buying, and if I lost all the money, I'm okay. So I made sure my risk was not too much, where if it was all gone, I would be fine. So you got to do that on your own, but make sure you know your coin, know your exchange, know your safe, how you're going to keep it safe, and know your exits. Now, today a lot of people are trading the crypto markets. And I will say it's a phenomenal thing to do if you're a trader, because it's so much great speculation here. You can have huge moves. There's no fundamentals. There's no manipulation by high-frequency traders, at least yet. I'm sure they're coming. But it's a great way to make money just based on the news, the macro information, and the charts. However, it is not for somebody that is new, because it will be probably very challenging for you. So investing is where I would suggest you start. The goal would be to maybe purchase one Bitcoin over time. You can buy a portion of a Bitcoin, maybe 0.03 or 0.3. And as you do that, you can decide how much money you want to put in. And over the course of time, maybe get yourself to a point where you own one Bitcoin. And that would be perhaps my suggestion if you're going to look to invest. Now, if you want to trade it, you're going to have to be on exchanges more, so you're taking the risk in the markets that somebody can hack into that exchange and steal your coins. So even if you're trading, I would suggest moving your coins off the market at the end of the day. It's a little bit more work, but it's worth the risk. Now, the next question becomes when to buy. When do you buy the Bitcoin? As we've seen today, it's spiked up to $10,000. When should you buy it? Well, it's hard to time the markets, and I was waiting for the Bitcoin to come back down. At 8,000, it created a pattern that I thought was ready to break out and go up, but I figured we might have a little bit more downtime. Well, it turned real quick and went right back up to over $9,000. So timing is not going to be easy. I would just say if you want to be in it, buy little pieces along the way. However, when we have a big crash, which we will, then I would look to buy more. For example, a news article came out today. Well, I should say it came out a couple of years ago, but this gives an example that on Coinbase between 2013 and 2015, there were something like 500,000 accounts on Coinbase, but only 90 people filed with the IRS for taxes, which means potentially there are billions of dollars of people who have not filed. Now, when the IRS finds these people, and they will because they have an account, and they're going to have penalties, they're going to have interest, and they're going to have payments due, they're going to have to sell to get that money, and that's going to come right out of Bitcoin. So those kind of things you got to watch for, and that would be a big crash in the markets. Probably coming. There's many things that are coming that will crash the market. At those opportunities, those would be, I consider, buy opportunities into Bitcoin at lower prices. Okay? So I believe in the concept of buy high and sell higher, which is a philosophy of buy on strength and sell on more strength. Buy low, sell high is an idea of buying on weakness, but the problem is a lot of people don't understand where weakness is. So you can do it either way, buy low, sell high, but those are all contrasts. What is low and what is high? So if you're just worried about missing out, buy a little bit here and there, but just know it's money that potentially could disappear and evaporate. You want to know your charts. So if you're not a charting type person, then don't worry about this. But if you are trading the markets, you need to understand the charts. I will be sharing videos on charting as we go along here on setups and patterns that are great buys for not just the Bitcoin, but other cryptocurrencies. And know also that the big money is on the sidelines. I've heard that over $10 billion is almost ready from big and smart money to come into the crypto markets. So when that comes in, it's going to cause another boost in the markets. So the question becomes, where are you going to buy the Bitcoin? Well, there are many places, and you can Google them, but I have two that I've used, and I'm going to share them with you. The first one is Gemini.com. Now, Gemini.com was started by the Winklevoss twins. You might remember them from the Facebook social media movie. They were in the battle with Mark Zuckerberg, saying that they started Facebook and that Mark stole it from them. Well, now they've made a tremendous amount of money in cryptocurrency space. So they've set up this company, Gemini, out of New York, and I've been using them, and they seem very, very good. You can buy Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin on Gemini. Coinbase.com is another one. They've been around for a long time. They have a tremendous amount of users. They do have insurance based out of London for the coins on there, so that's a good thing. But they are another place you can buy your coins. Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Litecoin, I believe those three you can buy on there as well. So I would start there. There are other places you can Google. The question becomes, is Bitcoin a bubble? Is the crypto space a bubble? Well, I believe today everything's a bubble because the way that the Fed has manipulated the money supply, basically we have too much money, and they've never allowed the free markets to work as they should. So I think not only is this a bubble, I think the bonds are one of the biggest bubbles. We have the college bubble, which is $1.6 trillion. I think we have real estate bubbles. We have so many bubbles it's not even funny. So if what's going to keep you out of the market is a bubble, you better go hide under a table because pretty much everything's a bubble. So the key with bubbles is to know how to profit in the bubble and always, always look for your exit. Know that this is going to end and it will end quickly. So when that happens, and it could be 3 years from now, it could be 5 years, it could be, I don't know, it could be a month. You just got to, along the way, maybe pull some profits out, pull your principal out so that if anything happens and it collapses, you're not hurt. That is the most important thing. To have your principal back is the most important thing. So pull that out along the way as you profit. Now, bubbles occur in phases, and again, what that means, obviously, is we have stage one of a bubble, and what happens with stage one, the insiders know about it. And so it starts to go up deceptively. It's not moving very big, but it goes up. Phase two, the media comes in, they start talking about it. You start to get big money coming in, and then that blows it up even bigger. Then stage three is when the mass mind hears about it, they feel they're missing out, then they all come rushing in like cattle, and once they all come in, there's nobody left to buy, and the whole bubble ends and it collapses on itself. So I think we're really in between phase one and phase two right now as big money's getting ready to come in, but we don't have a tremendous amount of big money in yet. So I still think this bubble has a ways to go. We'll have big corrections, but I think there's a long way to go in the bubble. So just to give you an example, in 1999, and this is when I started trading the stock market, is 1995, and I did very well in those years on the stock market in the dot-com bubble. But at the top of the dot-com bubble, it was a $6.5 trillion market. That's huge. You compare that today to the crypto market, which is only $300 billion at this point. It is still very, very small, even though it might be a bubble. Bubbles can go a lot longer than you imagine. So the players in the game right now are millionaires, billionaires like Tim Draper and Mike Novogratz, who used to run a very large fund, Fortress, I believe was the name of it, computer geeks, millennials, and soon others are going to be coming in. Okay, so watch who's playing the game. We're seeing parabolic moves in Bitcoin and other currencies. That typically means what goes up will come down, so expect big corrections like 40 and 50% corrections. Those to me will be buying opportunities, but just know they're coming. As it goes up big, it will come down just as fast and just as big. Now let's talk about storing your Bitcoin. Again, I said earlier, you need to store this, and this was the smartest thing I did. When I bought Bitcoin, I did not know anything about it. I was buying to hedge against the risk in the economy. And when I bought it, I just didn't like the fact it was on an exchange called Mt. Gox. So I actually scanned a QR code and moved my coins to a piece of paper, which then, back then, the technology wasn't very good. So I didn't even know if I even had them. And I moved them, and then I forgot about them, actually. And then, thank goodness, the technology's out today. And just months ago, I found the paper and found that actually I had the coins. So it was a very, very smart move on my behalf that I moved it off the network onto a QR code. You can do that today as well. So I'm going to tell you, if you're going to have a wallet, here are some of the online wallets. Jax.io, and that goes right on your desktop. You also have My Ethernet or My Ether wallet, that's for Ethereum. And then you have blockchain.info, which has a wallet. I have one on my iPhone, although I have very little bit of Bitcoin on there because of the risks I talked about. These are online wallets. Again, they are at risk of being hacked. They can be lost if you lose your computer, if you lose your phone. I just don't like that idea. So offline wallets. I purchased what we call the Nano Ledger S. It's a little device that looks like a thumb drive, and you can get it from Amazon, probably about $70. And then you plug it into your computer, and you can move your digital assets onto that wallet. You can also just Google paper wallets for cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, and there's a process on how to move your coins onto paper QR codes and keep them safe in your vault, in your floor safe, or whatever. I would not keep them in banks because banks, once you put anything in a bank, becomes theirs. You've given away your rights. And if you don't know that, you need to read the fine print because you're giving them uncollateralized loans. And under the Patriot Act, even a safe deposit box at a bank is no longer yours. So stay away from banks. That's what we want to get rid of with this. That's why the Bitcoin community is big on decentralization. Let's get rid of the banksters. They're destroying the planet. They're creating wars, and they're a vile organization. This is my opinion, but any research will show this is what's happened with banksters throughout history. So let's take the power back into our hands and control our own labor, our own money, and our own power with technology. So again, keeping on the phone is a bad idea. So here's the homework. If you're looking to buy a coin, even Bitcoin, here's what I'd tell you to do. To carve out time every week to be consistent. Number one, ask yourself, who is the team behind the coin? Now, Bitcoin, you're not going to know who the team is because that was created as the granddaddy. That is the blockchain, the development. There's not really a team behind that. That's an entire community behind that, and that's what that's about. But if you're looking at any other cryptocurrencies, there's a team behind that currency. You got to look at their experience. What is their background? Do they look like they have tremendous depth and experience? Have they run businesses? Have they utilized their knowledge in the banking system? You really need to understand the team. When I started trading the stock market, one of my mentors always said, don't bet on the horse, bet on the jockey. Because the jockey, the team, the one that's running the company, is the one that can drive a great idea into the ground, or they can drive a so-so idea to the stars. It all depends on the team. So make sure you do the homework on that. Also look at the functionality of the coin. What is the technology? For example, I just got involved in an ICO, my first one. It's called Wax. And what happens is this is for gamers. And the technology is you'll have a coin that will allow gamers to buy their weapons, their shields, their clothes. This is all digital online, but it's a $50 billion industry. So that's huge. And the people behind it are very, very sharp. There's billionaire Mike Novogratz behind it, investing in it, I should say. And so those are the kind of things I'm looking for, is who's behind it, who's the team, where's the money coming from, what big names in the ecosystem are behind this. Is it a functional coin? Okay, is it something that's going to change the planet? Like Ripple is a coin being used by the bankers to compete against Bitcoin. So I bought into Ripple because I saw that potentially banks could win. And if they win, I want to be part of that. So I have a little bit of investment in Ripple just in case. Again, I'm not rooting for the banks, but I do want to have a stake just in case. Is it disruptive? Is the technology, the blockchain, going to disrupt that industry? You might know industries that need disruption, whether it's healthcare, whether it's the airline business, you name it. Blockchain potentially will disrupt that business, and a lot of these businesses will be put out of business, and it will also allow new entrepreneurs, solopreneurs like you and me, to come out with a new idea, and they'll acquire us, they'll fund us because they don't have the ability to create that ecosystem of the blockchain. Is there chatter on the net? Now, for this, you can go to Google Trends, just type in Google Trends, and then start to search for like the keywords like how to buy Bitcoin, or how to buy Ethereum, or how to buy Ripple, and start to see what the trend is. Is the trend going up? Are more and more people searching to buy this coin? That gives you an idea that maybe there's a popularity or at least a push behind that coin. That's called the chatter on social media space. Where is it purchased and sold? So not every currency can be bought on Gemini or Coinbase. You have to go to other exchanges like Poloniex. There's other ones like, I think it's called Liqui. You have to search for them because in the US, we are very limited on what exchanges we can buy from. So if you have any questions, you can just drop me a comment below the video, and I'd answer it for you if you have a question regarding maybe where to buy other coins. You got to ask where I could purchase this coin and where I can sell it. What exchange is actually carrying this coin? All right, so that's really important to know. Then I would go to ask the question, what is the market cap? Because the market cap is the size of the coin. How big is this coin? I mean, the price to the number of coins out in the market gives you the market cap. So the bigger the market cap, the odds are you're going to have a more liquid position. Along with that is the volume of the coin. So every day there's a volume and there's the market cap. So for example, if I go into my coin cap here, which is an app right on the iPhone, it'll show me that Bitcoin now is back down to $9,899. But when I click on it, it can actually show me how many, it's loading right now, so I'm in Helsinki. But you can click on it, you can see the volume of the day, how many millions or billions of dollars traded today on that coin. We want high volume, high market cap. That's really important if you're going to be in a good coin. Also, is the trend creating a buy pattern? So if I'm looking at the charts, I want to see that we're in trend, that the coin is going up or that it's creating a base pattern and ready to break out. So I'll be talking more about that on upcoming videos, and you'll be able to see my analysis on the charts. And then buy and hold versus trading. Again, when you're going to do this, I suggest you just look to buy and hold in the beginning. As you get better in the marketplace, if you want to trade, then move into trading at that point, but don't do it before. And make sure you have a wallet to store your coins on, hopefully offline. And then which coins will the smart money come into? If 10 billion is waiting on the sidelines right now to start coming in, where are they going to go? What coins are they going to invest in? So start to research that. That way you can get ahead of the wave and not behind the wave. Okay? So that is what I wanted to share with you. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, please put them below. I love your likes. If you give me a like, I highly appreciate it. I'm going to keep putting these videos out. Obviously, I travel a lot, so sometimes my setup is not the best, but I hope to give you great content. My goal is content to give you value, to make sure that you can profit, but really mitigate that risk so you don't get hurt. I've been hurt enough for you. You don't need to do it. I've already been through many painful bubbles. Let me help you to protect yourself and also take part in this crypto market. So again, I'm going to end this here real quick. So again, my name is Vince Dowd, and I appreciate you stopping by. And we're going to go back over to the video, and we're out. See you next time.